Hi guys, Leslie Gustafson here. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Got, I think, what will be a pretty cool scope for you today. This is scope number 24, I think, for me in the last 7 weeks. I jumped on Periscope 7 weeks ago. You guys, let me know your names. Let me know where you're coming from so I can make that personal connection with you. I want to get to know you. It's a little bit hard with some people's handles here to know exactly what your names are. You can tell me where you're coming from if you want to. Jess from Nashville. Hey, Jess, you showed back up. Thanks, girl. Good to see you. Lori from Denver. You're right here, Lori. Lori, I am in South Denver. Danielle in Arizona, mama of twins and a toddler. Oh my goodness, talk about a girl who needs self-care right there. Adrian from Tennessee, Elise from Nebraska, Vanessa from Southern California. I born and raised in Southern California and just moved to Colorado 4.5 years ago. Mandy from Los Angeles. Self-care. Yeah, and I'm going to try to tailor it a little bit for those of you who have a plate full of children, for want of a better way to say it, or some homeschoolers, because I know I have some homeschoolers on our scopes. And Carrie Shearer, thanks for showing up, buddy. Great scope last night with Julia. Boy, you're producing great scopes. We just all love to come and watch and fantasize about the scopes that we can do someday that are going to be that good. Anyway, guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Leslie Gustafson. I am a sex, marriage, and women's therapist. I have been doing that in private practice for 25 years. I am also Fox Television Denver's marriage and sex expert, author of the book Amazing Intimacy, Create a Spectacular Marriage in and Out of the Bedroom. Woohoo! And what else? And I'm a homeschooler, I'm a mom, I'm a grandma of 3. So that's a little bit about me. Yeah, it was good, Carrie. So you're getting shout outs still. And today I just want to talk to you guys. Oh, can you share me, guys? I always forget. Please, please share me. I would love to get a fun, full audience here so we can all talk and explore and exchange ideas about what it means to take care of ourselves. And I know that everybody besides me, thank you, Carrie, has good ideas. I'm going to share a little bit with you today about some tips that I use in my own life as a busy woman, therapist, etc., that help me take care of myself. And I have a lot to say about that. So please share me at this time if you'd be so kind by swiping right or swiping up. Hi there. Hi, Maria. Welcome. Good to see you here. Thanks for the hearts and the bats. I'm also going to try to share me too here. Let's see if I can do it. Here we go. There we go. Ah. Okay, I need to know why that turns on, Carrie, why my other phone turns on when I've put everything on Do Not Disturb. That's freaky. Anyway, thanks for the invites, for inviting followers, guys. And if you aren't following me already, look at the little Perry dude down there. You see that little guy by the numbers, the increasing numbers. Thanks, guys. Hit it with a hammer. I will hit it with a hammer, were it not my brand new phone. Hi, Julie. Julie from Brave Riders here. Another gal you definitely want to watch for parenting, scopes, wisdom, education. The girl's a educational rock star and a super wise and beautiful woman. Hi, Julie. So let's talk about self-care, guys. Who thinks self-care is selfish? Be frank, be honest. Do you think self-care, caring for yourself, is selfish or self-centered? Who thinks it is? Yay, no, I don't think you think it is. Who thinks self-care? Good, no from Elise, got a good no. How many people think it's a necessity that we take care of ourselves? Sometimes it can feel selfish. Sometimes you think of it as needed. Yes. No, but there are moments. Yes. Sadly, often yes for me. If that is your only focus, if it's all about you 24/7, that's probably a whole different scope. That would be our narcissism scope, actually one of my favorite topics to talk about. So we should do a talk on identifying narcissism, and I don't think that's who we're talking to today. What I think the people we're talking about today are are people like you and me who are busy people, well-intending people, people who have a lot on their plate, people who are trying to do good things, if not big things in their life. There is a whole lot of people scoping here who I believe really give so much all of the time. And I don't know, in this life, with all of the commitments and responsibilities that we have, if we can do anything else. Really, just living life and doing the things that we need to do every day can be a lot. And guess what happens to us? Where do we prioritize ourselves? Who's prioritizing themselves first? Who's got themselves as the number one person on their list to take care of every day? Nope. Nice teeth. I'm glad you like my teeth. Nope, nope, no way you're number one. That's right. No, that's right. You've got spouses, right? You've got children. You've got work that fills your life. You know, the list goes on. So most of us aren't number one priority in our day, right? But what I guess I really want to say to you today, and I have lots of tips to help you do that, is that it's absolutely critical that you are in at least the top 3 of your priority list, okay? At least get there on top of the list. Because here's the deal, right? If we are not taking care of ourselves, being poured into in some way, getting filled up, being nourished, nurtured, tended to, and prioritized in some way, guess what happens? What happens? What happens if we don't take care of ourselves or prioritize ourselves? Anyone? I know there's a bit of a lag here. A breakdown is certainly a possibility. Burnout absolutely is. Getting sick, yes. Burnout, grumpy, explosion, meltdown, absolutely. Doubt, depression. Oh my gosh. Resentment, yes. You guys, the results of not taking care of yourself are profound, aren't they? Right? They really are. There are dire consequences when we aren't taking care of ourselves. You absolutely can take care of others better if you're happy and you're taken care of. So how do you do it? I'm going to do this a little bit of a free-for-all. Tell me some of the things you do to take care of yourself. Things that help nourish you, provide for yourself, honor yourselves, respect yourselves, things that you do. Let me know. Anyone willing? Exercise, sew, have a treat, meditate, yoga, hobbies, alone time. I do this. I learn from others and I enjoy it. Personal development through reading, morning stretch, eating healthy. I don't know what that one is. Quiet time, reading Bible, a bath, exercise, reading. These are great suggestions, everyone. Excellent suggestions. Do you make a point of doing something for yourself every day? Every day. Reading, exercise, prayer time, taking time to be alone. Absolutely taking time to be alone. That's a biggie for me. Let me ask you this, guys. Who's an introvert and who's an extrovert, if you know? Because like I said in my announcement post or my announcement scope earlier, self-care can look very different. Introvert, introvert, introvert. There tends to be, there's an extrovert. The extrovert with the lots of children, that's a good combination. Extrovert, INFJ, introvert, introvert. So kind of mixed here. And so what I'm going to talk to you, the tips I'm going to give over to you are going to be a little bit biased. I am slightly on the introverted side, and so what I may need, just as a disclaimer, may not be what you need. And that's why I really appreciate that you're all willing to kind of, join the free-for-all, because when you give ideas, other people get ideas as well. Introverts, yes, quite a few introverts. Quite a few introverts that hang out online all the time anyway. We like it. And while I live a very extroverted life in many ways, right, I am introverted. Outgoing introvert, though. I like running my mouth. Thanks, Jess. I appreciate the transparency in that. Feel free to let me know that what we're talking about so far is good stuff. I'm in dire need of hearts around here, guys. I've done quite a few scopes, but I looked at my heart count recently and I was like, I don't know, I should have more hearts than that. Anyway, so feel sorry for me and send me a bunch of hearts. Anyway, so why am I doing this scope? Hillary Rushford jumped on the other day and talked about how she was shifting focus from so much focus on her professional life and moving into her personal life. Dr. Melanie Watkins also jumped on and talked about her need for self-care. These are great people to be following, by the way. And I was just observing in my own life there was an increased need in the last week for my own self-care, and so I've been trying to stay sensitive to that. But it seems to be in the air, this need for self-care. And when I was watching Hillary Rushford's scope, I was kind of impressed by the kind of, there was a kind of compartmentalization. And by that I mean there was all of this focus for quite a few years on the professional. And then she got to a place where she could finally breathe. I'm so sorry, horrid stress lately, I'm so sorry. I'm glad you're here. She finally got to a place where she could breathe, and then it was like looking around and going, okay, what about the rest of my life? What about personal goals? And that struck me how that's how we can be sometimes, where we're so achievement focused in a world that absolutely honors achievement and success. And we get a lot of reward and praise in this Western culture for being overachievers, for being drivers, for being producers, for doing things and getting results. And it can be really hard to say, hey, I want to honor my own individual life, my personal life, my relationships, myself. Sometimes you may find that you feel like you're running against the current in doing that, in saying, I'm going to not do that much. I'm going to prioritize myself. And so that's kind of really why I decided to talk about this today. But the guilt when I don't, exactly. And I think when we do slow down, a lot of folks are plagued by guilt. They get plagued by, I was intrigued by her because good. These are great comments. Thanks, you guys. I'll try to catch them. I may or may not be able to catch them all. At any rate, we can feel guilty because we think we aren't worthwhile or valuable if we aren't producing something, right? Right. And so if we get on the treadmill of always pushing and driving and achieving and feeling guilty and shoulding on ourselves, right? Y'all know about the shoulds, and shoulding on ourselves when we aren't productive, we can really end up hurting ourselves and those around us and our relationships. Because as you already pointed out earlier, you guys, resentment, burnout, that is not the goal we are trying to get to, right? And in slowing down and taking care of ourselves, we not only nurture ourselves, we give ourselves value, we say in doing that we are worthwhile and we need it. And guess who benefits? All those around us in our world. Because you cannot pour out into others if you are not poured into, right? You cannot love until you experience love, right? For those of you who are faith-based, Christ first loved us, and so we can love. And so that principle really extends itself into daily living. You can't give away what you don't have. I have heard that in my training from day one, that you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot take someone along a journey that you haven't in some way experienced before. Hey, Julia Counselor, welcome. So I have 7 tips for you. Feel free to chat among yourselves. Some of these may work for you. Some of these may not. Yesterday, I had a whole day of just self-care for me. As an introvert, I can't tell you how excited that makes me. When I know in the near future that there's a day coming up where there's nothing on it schedule-wise, it's like the greatest thing ever. I get so excited. It's like, yay, there's nothing on my calendar. How can it be? Now, I have a 16-year-old who I homeschool at home, but he's really very independent now, so I have certain freedoms that I realize others may not have. So the tips that I'm going to go through and the things that I was able to do yesterday is really what I'm going to talk about here. But I think any of these tips in any little bit of amount might be replenishing for you if put to use or if applied. You are another homeschooler. Yeah, I think I have quite a few homeschoolers. You know, I have been very privileged and grateful for in the last week, had a number of people shout me out. And you guys, I have a lot of new followers, and I'm so grateful that you're here and that you've given me the gift of your time. So all of you new people, thanks. I hope to do you proud. I hope to bring you great content. So here is the first thing I let myself do, and I say to myself, the first self-care tip that I hope you can make use of is I give myself permission to do nothing. Nothing. Not one thing, no thing. And when I do that, it just makes me happy. I don't know if that would make you be happy. It is hard, but it isn't hard if you develop it as a practice over time. I literally say to myself, I don't have to do a thing. La, 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 la. It makes me happy. Now, in reality, I don't literally not do a thing. Okay? But that I have given myself room to absolutely do nothing puts me in a state where I'm already feeling taken care of because I'm honoring my need for no productivity, for not being driven. I am an overachiever in recovery. I like to think of it. I'm also a perfectionist in recovery. Maybe you can relate. So these things that I do, I have come to know work very well for me, and they are things that I tell my clients around self-care. And I enjoy making my kids happy, but it's a lot of stress for me. It is. And those of you who are in that stage of early childhood when you have littlest kids in the home, perfectionist here, yay, love transparency and honesty. Thanks, Elise. When you have those little kids pulling on you all the time, needs, let me just say this. I'm going to say a special prayer for you guys tonight because that is one of the hardest life stages that you will ever experience. Marriages get taxed, you get taxed. It's incredibly stressful. As much joy as there is, it's very taxing and it can be very hard to take care of yourself. But I say to you, do it. I want to give you permission to set other people's needs aside when you need to for their sake. So the first thing I do is give myself permission to do nothing. Yes, and it is hard because as women, we have a certain pull that happens to us if we're in our homes and we see something that needs to be done. Sometimes it might help to self-care outside of the home for just that reason. The second thing I do is I say no to anything that I have to do. So again, I'm still giving myself permission. I gave up on shoulds many years ago. When I think of a should, I actually have a visceral response and a big fat no, I won't attached to it because I resist shoulds. I encourage you to do the same. Shoulds are usually just guilt messages directed towards ourselves. Okay? Shoulds are usually just guilt messages. And so it just ends up being very minimizing of self when we should on ourselves. So I say no to the have-tos sometimes. I did yesterday all day long. And it's great. Paralysis by analysis is my problem. Those are a lot of P's right there, Miss Sully. Perfectionist, procrastinating tendencies, yes. Yes, and I should do a scope on perfectionism. Anyway, thank you guys for the hearts and bats. That's the most I've ever had on one scope, and I really appreciate it. because that just feels like love coming my way. And so you're helping fill me up right now. The third thing I do is I conscientiously and purposely move slow. I move slower all day. When I start to feel any sense of pressure or demand, I just take a breath and I slow myself down. And I say, you know what? I don't have to. I'm just going to move really slow. And I find in the positioning of moving myself slower through the day that I tend to be able to experience my day more fully. Experience the alone time, experience the lack of have to, the experience of not having to respond to perfectionism, demand, expectation. I'll do that. I'll do a perfectionism stroke, and I'll tell you my own story because it's a big part of my history. And so I sit more, I lounge more, I relax more, I breathe more, all after I've chosen to move slow during the day. And we can choose to do that momentarily at any point during our day, just to take a breath and slow down. I am a believer. My primary source is God, so I make a point to center in that and spend some time in prayer and really just be nourished by the Spirit of God. That is a vital connection in my life. When I get too busy, too often that connection with God gets taxed, and I am a lesser person for it. And so when I have these self-care times, I get really excited about the fact that I get to have quality time with God, because that goes a long way for me. And when I am filled up, then I can give back, because it's my goal in life to be the hands and feet of Jesus in my own little way, because I am on a mission here. So I also give myself verbal grace. And that means that when some of the harder negative thoughts or emotions start to come up for me, I talk back to them. I soothe myself by telling myself, it's okay. I need to have downtime. This is good for me. I'm becoming a better person for it. I give a lot. It's okay to take. Some of these self-soothing kinds of things that you probably do all of the time for other people, right? We're so good at nourishing and affirming others. But I like to give myself that sometimes, because it helps me feel cared for. Our culture says do it all, do it perfectly, and look smoking hot while doing it. It does. I am a human being, not a human doing. Amen, Julia, absolutely. Fill your mind with the truth so that the negativity is drowned out. Amen. Those are great, great comments. Thanks, guys. I'm an exerciser. I like to exercise. Any other exercisers? I'll bet I have some. I actually can't do life without exercise. You would not like me at all if I didn't exercise. I'm telling you that right now. Because it absolutely helps my mood, my balance, my stress, my anxiety. It's time for me. I get a lot of personal work done when I exercise. I find, look at all these exercisers, awesome guys. I find that it takes me about 15 or 20 minutes of cardio to even clear my mind and get out of my head. So I also practice exercise as a self-care. No, it brings LMI. Yes, see, got some exercisers. And sometimes I just really give myself permission in that to do really light stuff. Yesterday, I was like, you know what? I need to recover and I need to repair here. And too much exercise was not going to cut it for me. So I went for a light walk. And so the key in all of this, really, guys, is to be listening to what you need and honoring it and responding to it and giving it to yourself. Even if you only have windows of time in your day where you can do it. Thanks for all the great feedback here. You guys are awesome. And because I'm an introvert, this is something that, I don't know if this helps you, but I really, when I hole up and I want to be alone and I want to restore, because introverts, as you know, restore better out of relationship, meaning by yourself. Extroverts tend to need more interaction, more processing out loud with others in order to self-care. There's a difference in that for introverts and extroverts. So for me as an introvert, I don't really talk a lot to people. I give myself the opportunity to not have to talk. And that really helps me. And so if I have to talk, I really limit myself on those self-care days to just my most inner circle of people, you know, your closest people, the people who know you the most. And so thanks, Marnie, for inviting followers. I really appreciate it. And so those are the 7 tips. And if you want to share me, I'm going to try to recap them briefly. And if you have any questions, I'd love to be able to field those. Thanks, Whitney. And then I need to wrap it up because I have a new client coming in in about 2 minutes. Oh, Marnie, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to show up, because you know what that says to me? To me, it says that it's important to you to take care of yourself. And so good for you for showing up and gathering new content and new ways and new strategies to take care of yourself. Okay? So quick recap. Give yourself permission to do nothing. Say no to have-tos. Do not should on yourself. Move slower through the day. Relax more, breathe more. Center yourself in prayer. If you are a faith-based person, by all means, center yourself, meditate, or have some quiet time in some way, even if you're not so important. Give verbal grace to yourself. Instead of listening to the negativity in your mind, the shoulds, the pressures, the demands, or expectations, give yourself grace and let yourself have time for you. And boss back those thoughts that tell you otherwise. Exercise if you want to. I also like to kind of graze when it comes to food on my self-care days because I don't want to cook. So I just kind of graze through the day and eat healthy things or treats that make me happy. And if you're an introvert, find a couple other people to process with. That's great self-care. If you're an introvert, kind of really pull in the reins, boss back thoughts. That's the real thing, girl. That's the real thing, Julie. Just boss them back and tell them no, or whatever else you want to tell them to stop them. And I was saying, if you're an introvert, it can be really helpful to be not around people and give yourself time to just be by yourself, without the talking, without the interrupting, without the voices, or limit that to just your inner circle of people. So that's it. Any other questions, thoughts? You are really just asking yourself, what do I need? Listening to yourself, honoring it, and giving yourself what you need. And honestly, we can do that all day long, bit by bit. Some days, you can have a whole day maybe. I had a whole day yesterday, and it was awesome. I was going to scope about it yesterday, and I said, you know what? No, I'm not scoping about self-care on my self-care day. So thanks for showing up, guys. I certainly appreciate you showing up. Elise, and Whitney, and all of you, Julia Counselor, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, Julia. I don't think I've seen you on too many scopes of mine, and I really appreciate it. So thanks, guys. And please, 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 take care of you. You matter. You are significant in your life. You do great things, and you need to be cared for so you can keep on keeping on. So take care. I will see you in the next couple days, or Sunday for the Amazing Intimacy Show. I do that with my husband. We have a good time doing that. So thank you, Mojo. And hope that Mojo's working. Absolutely. Bye-bye. Bye, friends. Take care. God bless.